Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 78 of Apron Podcast with Chia Boys, Carlos and Raspace. Carlos, how you doing?
I'm good. We got to add Wrestling Inc.'s winner of Wendy Chu's new finisher.
Yeah.
Carlos.
Yeah.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I won bragging rights to a wrestler's move that the wrestler doesn't even know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I got to name, I guess, in the canon of WrestlingInc.com, I got to, I will always be remembered on their Twitter for naming her go to sleep thing as I go to sleep, IGTS. So I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
And I won, but by 8 votes. I mean, that was all the people who voted. That was it.
Yeah. That's how I always remember you.
But I won, and did I blow up everybody that I know and go on Discord to every Discord I'm a member of, minus Kind of Funnies, and be like, hey, can y'all vote for me real quick?
And
yes, I did.
And you got 8.
And I got 8. Yeah. And 2 this morning, like, oh, I didn't see the time. Sorry. I'm like, it's fine. I still won.
Well, congratulations. Yay. All right, there's our episode for this week.
All right, bye, guys.
So I don't even realize we're recording right now. I don't know why. I'm so tired.
You're tired.
Yeah, I know.
No,
I have to be up for the rest of the night.
Yeah, and you actually were up.
Yeah. It was a busy day today. Busy day. Sorry for this really awkward lead in. Carlos had great news though. So for those of you who don't know how to read and just clicked on this randomly, our episode this week is a very I want to call it random for some of the episodes we've done. I don't consider it random, but I wanted to talk about yes. I wanted to talk about basically how we do not have a title for this episode yet, so this is the way it's going to sound. How meaningless ratings are in wrestling, and I'm flat at just saying meaningless. I'm not even going to say, hey, is there a place, because there's not. But there's 2 specific tweets, and I sent these to you, and I will preface this a little bit for people out there listening and watching, whatever. The 2 tweets specifically I'm talking about is Chris Van
Vliet.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know how to pronounce this. I want to say Van Vliet, and then I noticed there's an I in there. VLIET. Don't know. I've seen him do
we're never going to be on this show now.
Yeah, I've seen him do interviews with other wrestlers. So he's preparing for an interview for Christopher Daniels, and he posts, I was doing research for a recent interview and realized that TNA Impact has only ever had 1 5-star match ever. 1. How is that possible? For comparison, AEW has already had 13 5-star matches in 2.5 years since they started. So there's a lot of, comments, Chelsea Green comments, and they're going down, different people. You know what? This is not Twitter. I'm trying to scroll down on a screenshot. But a lot of wrestlers.
I mean, to follow up, he had another one too. It was like in the same time frame since TNA started in 2002. Here are the 5-star rankings in other companies.
Oh yeah,
New Japan has the most at 64. WWE/NXT has 10. PWG has 5. ROH 4. Noah 3, and AAA 1.
Yeah. So there's that. I want to get into that, but I'm going to jump to the other tweet here just to say where this whole rating thing came from. So the other tweet was Sean Ross Sapp from Fightful. Did his normal, he posted the ratings, and he put WWE drew 1.38 million on SyFy, with a 0.36 demo rating, and we all love seeing demo ratings and regular ratings. That's what I live for.
Yes, or Chris Jericho.
So Eric Bischoff responds and put end ? Context ? Perspective ? Otherwise who cares ? And Sean Ross Sapp even responded back, and he said it was SyFy on a Monday night, and other people were saying, what are you talking about? He put SyFy on there, like clearly saying like, hey, these numbers are actually pretty good for SyFy.
For it being an off night.
and
the Olympics.
And Bischoff went on a rant saying like, yeah, but you post these numbers and people don't know what they mean. And that's where he was getting at, like saying like posting those numbers mean nothing because how did it do against the other things that night? How did it do against a normal night? How did it do against this? How many people stayed on? All this other stuff.
NFL was on, right?
Yeah,
like NFL's not on anymore.
There was just so much. How is it done on this exact night every year? Like, you know, he was just kind of comparing, like saying like putting that little snippet doesn't tell the whole story. And I'll go down that rabbit hole first because I feel like there's a lot more to talk about with the 5-star matches. I will say I completely agree with him. Seeing ratings put out there is meaningless, and that's where this whole concept comes in. It is absolutely, and I don't know your feelings on it, but I absolutely hate when they post them because it does not tell the whole story. We are in a day and age where these Nielsen readings mean nothing because people watch online, they watch afterwards online. Mm-hmm. I have never watched AEW live. I watch it after the fact every single week, and I'm willing to bet that there are a lot of people that do the same thing. So those numbers mean nothing. They haven't meant anything in years. They're just to prove a point to people that, hey, look who watched this much.
Yeah, and in the context of like professional wrestling, I mean, it feels like an afterthought, right? We have, this isn't like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a very popular TV show, like Simpsons, right? Like Simpsons, like the only way we all hear about ratings is if it starts to falter enough that like, hey, it's on the bubble to get canceled. Like, oh yeah, shit. Right. But like that's more like network television that these systems are designed for. Like, I guess you could say like, oh hey, well, how did Raw do compared to NXT, compared to SmackDown, compared to Dynamite, you know, compared to whatever.
Right.
I mean, you worry that, especially at the time when it was head to head with like AEW and NXT, right? When AEW was like, we're doing Wednesdays, and NXT is like, we're doing Wednesdays too. I was like, wait, what? What are you doing? Why? You know, like that's then it became like, well, how many numbers did they do? And like the demographic thing, I like when like, and no just shitting on Sean Ross Sapp. Like it's his job, right? Like he's kind of have to do this anyway. Yeah. I don't know if he finds it interesting, but like he has to do it. The demographic thing to me never. I don't care. I don't give two shits about. Like it's cool. Like you conveying that like the majority group who watch AEW is like 18 to 30. All right, cool. That's interesting. I don't need to know that every week. You know, I don't need Chris Jericho to come out with a fucking shirt for it. Like, yeah, that's awesome. Or like anyone like that. Like that's so fucking nitty gritty nerdy shit. For someone whose fucking nickname is fucking Nerdaday, like I don't give a fuck, dude. Like I really don't. And like ratings are good to know. They're for context, right? Like it is, you know, what's AEW doing on, you know, February 9th, 2020 compared to 2022? Is it doing better? You know, is it being on TBS, giving it a boost, like all this stuff not being postponed because of sports, like people get to choose now, like, oh, I'm definitely going to watch AEW instead of the NHL tonight. You know, I don't care about the game. Like in the past, it would have been postponed to a Friday or a Saturday because of, you know, if there's like a big hockey game. I mean, because now TNT shows hockey. That's why my comparison for that. Yeah. But I don't care. I really don't. Like, I only care if it's enough to be like, you give me the context of like, hey, Raw did 1.38 million on SyFy. It's in trouble of being canceled. Right. Like it's only going to be on Peacock now because of that rating. Yeah. Okay. That's a fucking issue. You've explained to me that this number is bad. I don't live in this world. Right. It's like I can, on the show, right? Apron work. I can go and start talking about shit that I do on Nerd Day and be like, hey, the latest Call of Duty, you know, made 600 million on his first day. Like, who the fuck cares? Why are you talking about wrestling?
Well, that's what my biggest issue, and I'm going to say this because it feeds into the WWE fan war of they're using this, and it sucks. And I can only compare it to something like politics, where, you know, hey, these states won and this did this. I got to be honest with you. I've never in my life watched a show or a movie because of how it was rated. If it's some like, if we're going to watch like a horror movie, and we're looking up no-name horror movies, we might look at ratings because I'm like, ooh, let me see this. 1 out of 10.
How bad?
I don't want to watch it. But like,
and then I make you watch Santa Slay.
But like, I've never watched like a TV show because of the ratings. So for any of that, it's not going to stop me. And I want people to hear this and hear this well. This is not somebody who's an AEW fan saying the ratings don't matter because of whatever. I will never watch WWE. They could get back up to 10 and I just won't watch them anymore. I am disinterested with it. I've gotten over it. I won't watch it anymore.
The content itself is what brings me into it.
A lot of things are going to have to change with them. I am not defending AEW in this. I am saying flat out, WWE's numbers are lower because Nielsen ratings don't fucking matter no more. That's why Fox still paid them the money they paid them. They didn't see these decreasing ratings and say, oh my God, I hope they can get up to the numbers that they were at WCW. This is where all these old guys like Vince Russo and Eric Bischoff are wrong. The numbers will never get back there because TV shows don't hit those numbers anymore. They just don't. The only things that the only things that do are sports, because sports are very hard to not like watch live. Like football will always be on there because most people will spend their Sundays watching football, and that's what they do. I don't sit there and wake up at 8:00 at night because I work overnight. I don't wake up to watch Dynamite live because if I just stay off social media, I can literally watch it later.
Yeah.
So it sucks because I don't think. I agree with Eric Bischoff, and this is the one that was the one thing he did say with all these people complaining. He was just like, it feeds into this. It's pointless. It feeds into the people saying, look, this, because you can spin it any which way you want to. And that's where I compared it to politics in the part that I can spin why Biden is better than Trump. I can also spin why Trump did better than what Biden's doing. You can spin it any which way you want. You just can. And I don't get into all that stuff. This is not meant to be a Trump against Biden thing. I'm just using them as an example that I could spin any numbers I want to. I mean, COVID vaccine, same thing. I could spin the numbers any way I want to. It's pointless. I don't care what percent did this and what percent did that and what the demo rating was. Because you know what? That's even worse. How do you know the demo rating of a Nielsen rating? Because you're going off of a household that has this people. How do you know who's sitting down and watching the television?
Yeah. What if it's just on in the background? Like like this segment did so good. Well, motherfucker, I was cooking dinner. Yeah. Like, you don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I put it on because like I was like, you know what? I can walk away right now. Yeah. And I can't wait. I'll listen out for the next match, and then I'll run back and watch it. You know, it could be fucking anything. Yeah. And the other thing with it that comes with it, like, all right, when NXT and AEW were going head to head on Wednesday night in the Wednesday Night War or whatever, like for more modern context, and they were doing stuff. All right, we're going to do like an hour, or, you know, no commercial break, you know, Adam Cole versus Karrion Kross or whatever, you know, like whatever. Like NXT was trying to one up AEW, right?
Right.
Okay. As the average fan, why does it matter, right? If you see the ratings, and it's like, all right, look, AEW beat NXT last night. They, they were in 7th place, and NXT was in 10th. Wouldn't you care if they were number 1? If you're that worried about, like, hopefully they beat Gilmore Girls or whatever the fuck was on that Wednesday night. You know, like, why does it matter? And the only way it should matter to us, I mean, look, do you want to put the time in, put the research in, and figure out what the fuck this means or why does it matter? Go ahead. That's you. I don't have the time for that shit. What I have time for is it doing good enough that it's not going to get canceled? Because I like AEW. That's all I worry about. Like, is it doing good? Is it all right? Hey, this is the first time, you know, AEW's had 2 million viewers at one time. That's an impressive thing that's correlated to the Nielsen ratings, right? Like, that's important. I have context as to why this number is important now, specifically for this reason. Otherwise, I don't care. I don't. It's one of the one things I don't care about. Content is king.
Yeah, TNT and TBS are happy with the numbers. Why do you care? Why do you care?
Yeah,
they're not.
Let them worry about it, right? Let them worry about
in their
Tony
mind.
Khan not like hyping up Sting coming and be like, hey, we want those ratings, so you got to kind of tease people next time, and then you get fucking Keith Lee.
Yeah, that's I'm happy about. I was actually going to get into that because it does fit in with the ratings, but like that's where people don't understand when TNT says, hey, we're happy with these ratings. They're like, they can't be. They put the show on there expecting Monday Night War numbers. How do you know? How do you know? I don't care who it is, and I'm including Eric Bischoff and anybody who has dealt with TV. How Eric Bischoff don't know. None of them know what TNT, TBS is expecting out of them. Because I got to be honest with you, they didn't expect them to come in and beat the NBA. When they just bought the NHL, the reason why they got moved is because they don't expect them to beat the NHL. They never will. No. WWE doesn't. WWE doesn't beat them. It's just they have a built-in audience and they should be at the forefront. But I gotta be honest with you, TNT and TBS has nothing else going for it other than reruns of King Queens. And honestly, I don't even know what TBS shows anymore.
Supernatural.
I just used to watch Seinfeld. Supernatural and what's the witch show?
Charmed.
Charmed. Yeah, I know every morning when I would have it on, that's all. It was just Charmed and Supernatural. Good, it's just a bunch of reruns of shows. But they're happy with it. They're happy with it. Why do you have a problem with it?
And what does it honestly matter, right? It's not the 90s anymore. Like in the 90s, it mattered more because it was like tick for tat, right? So like Nitro's telling you what's going to happen at the end of fucking Raw. So like that, your eyes are on Nitro. Of course, infamously, that fucking backfired, and that's why there's no WCW anymore.
I will say this for those of you out there and saying wrestling will never be as big as it was, and you could be right. I can tell you right now, if we were the same age we were then, and wrestling, it was WWF against WCW again, but technology is where it is today, those ratings would be cut in half. Because they don't account for everybody watching it. I could tell you one thing, I would not be flipping back and forth. I would probably watch WCW and then go back and watch WWF afterwards because I used to prefer watching WCW during the NWO days over WWF.
Can you imagine the technology we have now then? Yeah. You would just DVR it. You're like, all right, cool. So when I'm done this,
or if I really wanted to, I'd have one. I don't have cable either. So right now, what I would have, I have 3 monitors set up. I would legit have WWF and WCW sitting here on 2 different monitors, and I mute whatever one I don't care about the matches on right now. That's exactly what I do. Often I'm watching the Sixers and wrestling and have them both on mute, and I'm literally doing something else. Like nowadays, those Nielsen ratings would be so low because most people don't even have cable anymore. It's such like and they don't account for all that stuff. They don't.
Who are they catering to, right? Like their key demographic is like 18 to 35, right? So in like 2 more years, I'm apparently no longer allowed to watch wrestling. I'm officially too old. And
I have 3 months, so
yeah. The time's ticking, motherfucker. But like who cares, right? Like, so if we had the same, so that's a key demographic. There we go. So I was trailing off. 18 to 35. And what else is vying for our attention? Again, content is king, right? So if you are, let's say me, right? And I love video games, anime, manga, horror movies, professional wrestling, all this other stuff, right? Right now, what's in my mind? Okay, I actually like watching a lot of YouTube, and I follow a lot of my, peers in the gaming space, and because I want to break into that field. And actually, holy shit, I actually like watching their shit as well. So I'll watch my friends on there. I also love Kind of Funny, independently that I happen to be on there. I love them from jump. So I'll watch, they did a episode of, Boba Fett review. And we watched this 40-minute thing. That's 40 minutes of my time taken up, right? That I'm not watching wrestling, watching Attack on Titan, like I mentioned before the show, that I'm not playing Final Fantasy 12 Zodiac Age, even though it's going to be on Game Pass next week. Like the time's ticking for that. Like I have too many things that I love, and everything's vying for my attention at one time.
Right.
that today, literally as Dynamite was playing, it was a really good episode. Dynamite. I suggest everyone watch it.
I'll be watching it after this.
Yeah, it's decent. Huh. This is my phone. I had fucking Dynamite on here, and I was like, I really gotta put time in the Zodiac Age because I want to see if I could beat it before the 14th of February when this is taking off.
Right.
It's a 100-hour fucking RPG though, and I'm 40 hours in. So am I gonna beat it in time? Who knows? But I'm putting time in before we do the show to do that, and then. God forbid if you have your own YouTube or podcast like we do, and I have fucking 2, because it's like, oh yeah, I got to write notes for the next episode, and then I also got to upload that and do social media stuff for that as well. Oh, there's breaking news. Keith Lee just showed up in AEW spoilers. If you, not for you, but like anybody else who just live on the rock.
I was gonna say, this will be released in the morning. So yeah, if you don't have social media and you're somehow listening to our show without social media,
what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
How did you find us?
Sorry for spoiling it, Mom.
Yeah. Sorry. And the cursing. Sorry. But yeah, Keith Lee, Jay White, oh my God. I feel the need to tweet about that. Hopefully a soon to have podcast guest Gabby Ortiz was one of the random women who accompanied MJF today and gave him a kiss on the cheek, which is gross because it's MJF and Long Island's gross. Like shit like that. So like I'm tweeting about that. I'm tweeting at her because like I know her because of family, and I'm tweeting at LSG, her boyfriend, because I followed him for years. And oh yeah, let me talk about JY over here. Oh shit, Call of Duty is gonna be on PlayStation, even though Microsoft did pretty soon say they were gonna do it, but now they're definitely gonna do it. So that's podcast notes, and I had to save that article. Like there's just too much shit.
Yeah.
And God forbid you try to watch all of it, right? So the best thing you can do is not worry about fucking ratings.
Yeah.
And be like, hey, I DVR'd it on fucking Hulu. I have time today. Let me see what happened. Like you say, like you haven't watched the live episode. I think probably the only episodes you've seen live was when we're fucking there. The 3 episodes we've been there, right?
Yeah,
like I'd 2 Philly and the 1 DC.
Like when CM Punk was coming back, I watched that Rampage live. I'd say it's few and far between when I actually watch things live.
But AEW knows that, like they know that, right?
See, and I'm a huge Sixers fan. I don't watch the Sixers live either. I mean, I work overnight, and again, other people just have different schedules. Like I work overnight. I watch the Sixers at like 2:00 in the morning while I'm working. I put it on the background, and I will watch the games, but they're not getting my views. You know what I mean? Because I'm watching
they're not getting the live views, right?
So like, it's just I try to always compare it to what's your favorite show of all time? Any show?
Well, I mean, it ran for 15 seasons, so it was Supernatural. My second favorite, though. And that's only because it's 15 seasons.
If they brought back Supernatural today, I mean,
there's a new season coming.
Okay, all right. Well, all right. But I'm saying, like, but you're going to watch it, right? It's your favorite show.
Yeah,
you're going to watch it. Now, what if it's not as good?
Then I'm gonna stop. Right? It's not.
But if it's you're probably. All the characters. Hold on. All the characters come back.
Yeah.
Let me use some context here because it's a little bit different. If you bring back a show, it could be all new.
I'm also thinking logically because I'm like it's a prequel, so maybe I'll stop. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. See, I'm not talking about what's.
They're
continuing. They're continuing with the story, right? Let's say Supernatural is coming back. They're continuing, same characters. They're bringing back some characters from the beginning. All this other stuff. They're filling in more stuff. You're so 15 years invested in this. Even if the quality's lower, you're going to hope that it bounces back because you're invested with the characters, right? Yeah. And that's where WWE, and again, this is not meant to knock them. Some people are so used to WWE, and I was one of them, that like they're going to continue to watch no matter what. Their ratings will never drop under a certain amount because there are families out there, there are kids out there, there are people out there that will watch Raw.
It's must-see TV
every week. Because that's what their Monday night is. Mm-hmm. And their hope is it turns around because there is parts of it they like. There's parts of it they don't like. And if you like WWE, there's nothing wrong with that. I personally don't. but there's no knock on you for liking it. Just like I don't want somebody to come at me for liking AEW. I don't care how many times the Young Bucks flip around and no sell shit. I don't care. I'm entertained. That's how I'm entertained. It don't matter though. Like, I'm not knocking you for being entertained watching WWE, but WWE does have a built-in audience. It's just plain and simple. They do, especially on USA on Monday nights. They do. There's no denying that. Is that why AEW's numbers are the way they are? No, I don't think they're related. And that's the toughest thing. If they were both on Monday night from 8 to 11 or 8 to 10, or, you know what I mean? If they both ran at the same time, I wouldn't necessarily say one of the one are having higher ratings either. And again, I know for the people out there, I sound like an AEW fan because their ratings are lower. But it's if AEW came out on Monday nights and beat WWE in ratings, I wouldn't be saying, see, AEW's the better show. Yeah. Because I don't think the ratings mean shit. They haven't meant shit for a very long time because they don't have a way to calculate everything.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, on all it is a traditional win for AEW. Yeah. If that were the case, like if they showed up on Dynamite Monday nights, 8 to 11, let's say, right? Or no, 9 to 11. Let's do like old school, right? Just 2 hours.
Yeah.
And they got better numbers. They beat them like consistently for, let's say, 83 weeks, like WCW did. I mean, that's an old school way of thinking that it matters. The only thing that we should matter if you're an AEW fan is like, hey, that number is going bigger and bigger. So that means they're doing better and better.
Yeah.
That means other people other than myself like this product, and there's a good chance it's going to stay around.
And again, I don't even look at it that way because I don't think people are going to watch it live. Yeah. I just don't. I don't think people watch it live now. And that's okay. I don't. That's where I say, especially Monday Night Raw, I think their number's going to be so hard to get under a certain amount because people are predetermined. This is my Monday night tradition, and it's been this for a long time.
Yeah, you remember when Impact went against them on Mondays and like consistently lost, like, and they forced themselves to move. It was like, why? No, I mean, obviously we didn't have like streaming services and things like that like we do now, but so you were stuck to this traditional model of Nielsen ratings, and you decided to poke the fucking bear. Yeah. When the bear is not even fucking paying attention to you. Honestly, exactly. He's looking at the other bear over there, which is Monday Night Football, giving more shit about that than being like, hey, who the what's this little mosquito biting me? Who are you? Who is that? Hulk Hogan. Who the fuck is that?
Yeah.
That's all WWE cares about. And you know what? Yeah. Just to be a dick about it, guess what we're going to do? Bret Hart's coming back, your first fucking episode. And we're doing an apology tour. And Shawn Michaels is going to shake his hand on Raw. That's what they did.
Yeah.
And that's just to fuck with them.
and the people who were not watching WWE were the ones who watched Impact. And it's just plain and simple. They didn't pull my eyes from Monday Night Raw to Impact. I watched Impact because it was something different, because even then I wasn't watching WWE on a weekly basis anymore. So I was one of those people who watched Impact, not WWE, except for the whole Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels thing. I think that was the one time I actually remember switching back and forth, but I watched Impact and then read the results for Raw, but they didn't take my eyes off of Raw. Like you said, Monday Night Football, the Olympics, stuff like that, a presidential debate, all that shit. You might get somebody like if I watch Raw every single week religiously, but the Eagles were playing on Monday night, you wouldn't have me watching Raw. My focus would be on the Eagles.
My cousin loves football that much that he was like, he would watch, it'd be Monday Night Football, and then he would just switch to Raw.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah. But that's what, I mean, that's
during commercial. Like it was like, oh, commercial time. Time to watch a little bit of Raw.
That's where you're going to lose it. If AEW went on Monday nights, you would see a minor dip in WWE's viewership. And actually, I will be probably willing to admit you probably see an increase. in WWE's ratings.
True.
I think you'd have more people flipping back and forth. So you would see an increase because you'd be like, oh shit, I get to watch Dynamite and Raw on the same night. It would almost put a little bit more interest out there. I'd probably watch more live if they were both on Monday night.
Here's the other thing, right? Yeah. Like to the ratings thing. Why, as a casual fan, should it, or not casual, just as a fan, right? As a fan who's not in that industry and television and figuring out ratings and stuff, why should it matter? What should matter is in this this hypothetical situation where like Dynamite and Raw are on the same night, that those companies are vying for my eyes. Yeah. That's all should matter. Yes, I happen to be part of that rating system, but guess what? I don't give a fuck. What I want to know is Hangman losing his belt in the first 5 minutes to Bryan Danielson on Dynamite as your opening fucking salvo against Raw the same night where like fucking Braun Breaker shows up and takes the belt off Roman Reigns. Like, like that's what should matter to me. Like, I get it. I am one of those numbers that you want, but I don't give a shit about the number. All I care is what you're showing me and what I want my eyes on specifically at that moment. If you can get me to watch live and watch, whatever it happens to be in that situation, you're getting my rating, but why do I care as a fan?
Yeah.
I don't care.
And see, and that's where all this stuff, and I think WWE knows this, and that's the biggest joke about all of it. WWE knows it, which is why they'll bring back Goldberg. They'll bring back Ronda Rousey. They'll bring in Brock Lesnar. They'll do all this stuff because no matter what the Twitterverse and all that IWC wants to say about this, the fact of the matter is those guys boost ratings for WWE because the people who still watch live television are not us. They're not catering to us. They don't care because the hardcore WWE fans will continue to be hardcore WWE fans. You can bitch about Goldberg all you want, but guess what? You watched again. It's like an abusive relationship. It took me so long for me to get out of the habit of watching WWE, where I start realizing there's other stuff out there I'd like. AEW helped me. It was like a cleanse to me because I enjoy AEW. Don't care if you do, don't care if you don't. That's your own opinion. My opinion is I enjoy AEW. I've enjoyed just about every Dynamite. Rampage, I've enjoyed mostly. I take Rampage for what it is, and it's their B show, and it's treat it like that for the most part, and that's fine. They try to squeeze in 4 matches in an hour. I take it for what it is.
Yeah, like the breakneck speed. It has its pros and cons.
Yeah, but like I enjoy AEW. AEW helped me get out of my WWE watching. But then it helped me realize I watch MLW now, and I have to get caught up on that. And I enjoy anything that's on YouTube because I could go weeks without watching it and then just watch 6 hours on one night and just get caught up. I found that I enjoy MLW. I try to watch Impact. I don't like it. People like it. I don't like Impact. That's fine. We just talked about this. I tried watching GCW's last pay-per-view. It to me, god awful. But I can't stand the announcers. I don't. Their matches were sloppy. The funny thing is, even I think some people that are fans of GCW literally said that pay-per-view was not good. So maybe I'll give them another chance. I don't know, but it was hard to listen with the announcers. But some people like that. There's so much out there right now. I mean, NWA. I have not gotten back in because NWA is back on YouTube, right?
That's they have Power Hour, right?
I know they were.
Oh no, it's something called like that.
NWA Power was on YouTube, and
that's on Fight TV.
Then they went, but I think they were coming back to YouTube.
They had to do one episode because Fight wasn't working.
Oh really?
They did like they did like a special. They have a new show that's on YouTube.
Okay, well either way,
Darius Lockhart was talking about it.
There's other stuff out there.
By the way, if you're listening, man, just come on.
Yeah. Another guy. Yeah, we. This isn't even Danhausen now. This is Darius Lockhart. Hey, we contacted you.
No, but for real, Danhausen, what's up, man?
But like, there's so much out there right now, and to be honest with you, now that there's so much out there, I went to the MCW show with Mecca, and I gotta be honest with you, I'd rather spend $30 a seat and sit in the second row of a bingo hall of a small place that only got 6 to 8 rows, where I feel like I'm right on top of the action. My kids would not have had fun had I brought them to WWE $30 seats. They just wouldn't have.
Because you're up in the fucking
and I wouldn't have either. That's why I enjoy AEW shows. AEW goes to every city's secondary stadium. And I'm happy with that because the last seats in there are like the middle of a big stadium. So I'm paying $25 sitting in the last seat, and I still feel relatively. I still feel close. When I was in Charlotte with my brother, we sat up top, and he was like, "Oh my God, we're so close." I said, "This is what I love about AEW. You're not sitting. You don't feel like you're sitting in a gym, but you're not sitting in the biggest of stadiums either, and you feel close." And if I'm going to be there live, I want to feel close. It's different getting to an Eagles game where it's sold out and you just want to be there for experience. Wrestling ain't selling out no more. They just ain't. Every single wrestling show blocks off half the stadium on the hard camera side and everything like that. And then they got to block the whole entrance. They're not going to sell the same way they used to. The prices are too high. It costs $82 for a beer.
And then merchandise and all this other stuff.
It's just
factor in so much.
The cost is too much to go to these shows constantly. So I prefer to bring my kids to something where they're like, "Oh man, the wrestler touched my hand for $30," instead of "Who's that in the ring? I can't see." But like, "Here's binoculars, son."
Yeah.
So
I went to. I think I mentioned this before. I wear the shirt so often, but Jenny Rose, formerly of ROH, she has an independent thing. She hasn't done it in a long time, but it was over in Jersey, Aspire Wrestling, and that show was one of the best shows I've seen. And honestly, that's what I heard about Cheeseburger. That's where I first saw him. I heard about Will Ferrell. That's where I first saw him. I heard about Shamal Ali and all these other people, and that's what kind of got me into the local ROH people. People who were training in the dojo and stuff, and kind of down this path where now we interview Mecca and stuff like that. But again, I mean, the key to this discussion is content is king. So I'm sure they it's more important to them to see how many people are DVRing, how many people. I think it's a culmination for the companies now, right? I think certain companies are honestly I'm sure AEW is hey, everything matters, right? So we hope that in the UK and everything, you're subscribed to AEW Live or whatever, whatever the thing is, where you spend $5 and you get all the Dynamites live or whatever, and you can watch old episodes. We're getting your money, but your time and investment that way. In the States, okay, I happen to have Hulu. Okay, so we got Carlos because he DVR'd Rampage. I don't know. Let's say they can see everything, right? All right, he didn't see it live. Oh, but Saturday around 2 p.m., I'm assuming while his kids were asleep, that's when Carlos caught up on Rampage. All right, he skipped past the commercials. Who cares? It doesn't it's almost like a cornucopia of everything, right? You need all this stuff. Everything has to matter now to be viable as a company, right? AEW has to hit it on all cylinders, where it'd be hey, okay, I'm sure there's someone out there who's watch Dark Elevation, Dark, Dynamite, all in the same week. Also BTE, not to mention as well as hype for the AEW game. Probably plays a casino game, there's definitely a super fan out there, but when there's so much content and you like so many different things, it's so hard as a fan to time manage. And God forbid if you're a parent.
That's what messes up today. I told you how tired I was because the kids got out of school early, and my fiance Jess, she's in nursing school, and Wednesdays just happened to be her day where she's in class. So between that and the kids getting out because they had some teacher thing today, it was a pain. I worked last night. I had to take a nap. Then I had to bring them to school. Then I had to wake up a couple hours later to pick them back up. And then they want to eat and all this other stuff. And it all that stuff catches up with you with that. But like you said, everybody said, "Oh, well, look, AEW only sold 40% of their stadium. They're losing money." We don't know what numbers they need to hit. They might say, if we can sell 50% of the tickets at each show, we're making money.
Yeah.
Their goal might not, everybody's goal is to sell out completely. Everybody. But their goal to make money might be a lot lower than you think. Like you said, they might, the reason why they keep making YouTube content. I mean, first of all, it gets a lot of local people out there, even though they're mostly in squash matches. It gets their name out there.
Yeah.
Because then you go down the rabbit hole of, oh, well, Action Andretti, this guy did one crazy move. He lost in 2 minutes, but let me see what else is out there about him. He has a nice look, and then you go down that lane where they're getting people out there, they're signing people from it. They might only need to hit a certain amount of views, but at least everything combined runs into that where it's not about ratings. It just isn't. TNT probably has like hey, we're hitting this many hits on Twitter, this many things on Instagram, this many things on Facebook. It's keeping up with attention. So even though our TV ratings might not be, people are watching, people are buying stuff. And that's where a guy like Danhausen works perfectly. Hook. I mean, think about that. Those guys might not ever be bigger than they are right now. And they are merchandise like gems. Orange Cassidy, the same thing. You might hate them, but guess what? Kids don't. Liam, I've not been able to get in AEW. I've been trying to. I've not been able to get him into it. But you know what he does say to me? Hey, is the guy with the glasses and puts his hands in his pants? Is he on? Like that? He doesn't even know his name, but he knows who he is. Yeah. And if I were to buy him something right now from Orange Cassidy, he would go over the moon and still would not know his name.
Yeah, we had my wife's cousin who lived with us for a little bit. I was watching Dynamite, I think before we were going to film. I was just like, I'm just going to watch the episode because the kids are asleep. I don't feel like playing video games or whatever. And Dante Martin had a match and he was just chilling in the living room. We're both like having a beer, just talking bullshit. And he was like, oh my God, this dude's amazing. I mean, like 2 weeks later, he came back up from his little like hole that we threw him under to live in. But he came up to like grab food or something like for dinner. And I'm like, yo, dude, that Dante Martin guy is watching. Literally walked over and started watching. And then the second the match was over, he's like, all right, cool, bye. I'm gonna go play Call of Duty. Like, I mean, you got his eyes for like 15 minutes. Like that should count for something, right? But like, I don't know. I feel like we're talking in a circle, not in a bad way, but like it just comes down. Content is king. Yeah, I think AEW understands that a little more than WWE, but I think the only rating should only matter to the Bucks, Cody. Wait, is he still EVP or did that contract up as well?
I don't know.
The Bucks, Tony Khan, Omega, Vince, Nick Khan, I guess the worst con of them all.
Well, that's like before I jump into the other bad ratings, that we talked about the Keith Lee thing, right? Now, Tony Khan hyped that up to no fucking end. And my thing was he hyped it up so much that there's probably only about 5 to 10 wrestlers alive that like could have filled that hype for me. It just could,
it literally went from Triple H.
He hyped and some of the people out there, including like Jeff Hardy getting bought out of his contract, would not have hit the level that I felt like he hyped it for me. Now, it would have hit the level of the whole Forbidden Door because that was the first time a guy came before their 90-day clause because he bought him out, whatever. But the fact of the matter is, their ratings right now will probably not see an increase. If it does, it'll be minimal. It just will. And people will say, see, AEW can't even do it with all this hype. And the fact of the matter is, TNT might be like, wow, you got a 0.1 increase by just going on Twitter
and saying, hey, it's
we didn't have to put any real promotion behind you. We literally had to retweet something and you just said it on your own show and people came and watched. We got a bump from that. That's great because people don't understand. Tony Khan saying shit on Twitter ain't doing nothing for TNT. That is free press. Yeah. If he can get a minimal bump on it, it's huge for them because TNT is not promoting this all over NBA on TNT. No, saying, "Oh my God, Tony Khan said this is a surprise Wednesday night." If they were putting millions of dollars into promoting TNT or not TNT, AEW, in that way. Oh my God, surprise coming all over TV. And the ratings went down. Then you can say something. But literally, they're using free social media and getting a small bump. That's huge for them.
It could be. Yeah. And I mean, we know, as I was talking to the entrance ramp guys, and I know Mark got it. He had it spoiled probably like 2 minutes into the show starting. Like literally at that time, he was like, "Oh, I just found out who it is." Yeah. And I can tell you, like, Tony Khan overhyped yet fucking again. He's very not in a bad way. He's very honestly critical of like a lot of stuff Tony does. But I was like, listen, like, to play devil's advocate, did Tony come up with this whole campaign on his own, or again, we knew what happened with Sting? From that moment on, anytime something big was about to happen, it's been like, hey, by the way, unless it's like a pay-per-view, you know, like, I don't think anything got hyped for the pay-per-view when Danielson and
Punk's return, I want to say, was not hyped at the way it should, because they were playing coy.
Yeah, they were playing coy enough to be like, hey,
I feel like when they play coy,
you know why we're in Chicago, you know why we're at the United Center, you know why we're doing this live on a Friday, and it's the second episode, not the first, the second episode. So just wink, wink, elbow, elbow. Tune in.
Yeah, they promoted it without promoting it, and see, I could say, and like you said, all the people, oh my God, they did it again. Guess what? When Tony Khan does this again in a month, we're all gonna watch and say, oh my God, it's Okada. Oh my God, it's Gargano. We're gonna say the same fucking thing. Oh my God, it's Bray Wyatt. They're trending all over Twitter because we're talking about it.
Yeah,
and I mean, Tony Khan cares.
Yeah, he put what I think he does only because, like, he did at 10:30 before he started filming. Did put like a tweet up. He's like, I didn't secure a Jay White until Sunday. I realized that after the fact that Friday night I butchered my own definition of Forbidden Door in hyping tonight, which he said the Forbidden Door is gonna be knocked down forever. Yeah. Which in my head I'm like, okay, fucking,
and that's what some people
Triple
said.
H, some shit like that.
Yeah, and that's what some people said. They said that the way that his own term that he coined, he used incorrectly, most likely. So the fact that he admitted it, but why would he admit it before it happened? He had no reason to. He wants you to watch still. He's not dumb. He was like, let me apologize after the fact, because now everybody's like, he just messed up on his words. Keith Lee is an awesome signing for them. Yeah. He's somebody that everybody would have been hyped over had they not. It's like Christian, when Christian came. If it wasn't overhyped before he came as a Hall of Famer and all this other stuff, and our minds did not go down a different path, we would have loved him being there. And it's the same thing. Keith Lee showing up for this match, if they just sold it as somebody's coming, we would have been wild over it. But it got us talking. And that's all they want to do. That's all Tony's trying to do. He's trying to get you talking.
Yeah.
He knows if you're angry, you're going to talk again in a month when he says it again. He's going to do it every single time because it gets people talking, and that's all they want out of this. I'm going to transition off of this because I see the time, and I feel like we stayed too much on the Nielsen ratings.
That's right.
Because as outdating as Nielsen ratings are, we spent 47 minutes on it. So I want to get to the real meat and potatoes of meaningless ratings. Nielsen ratings, at least at one time, was relevant. I'm going to talk about another rating that has never been relevant.
And we're looking at you, Meltzer.
Yeah. I mean, we love you, Meltzer. Now, back in the old days of Apron work, for those of you that listen to original stuff, as Peachy like to say, Meltzer's a filthy casual. I
still can't believe
he.
This is why he's never going to be on the show.
He wanted to fight. He wanted to fight Meltzer so bad for no reason. PG doesn't even know who Meltzer is. He just wants to fight him. Like he has
He'll
no
just
idea.
Like walk by him one day and be like, oh, what a nice man, and just be like, dude, that was Meltzer. He's like, oh, son of a bitch.
Yeah, I don't even think he knows what Meltzer does. Like that's the thing. Like, it's not even, he doesn't know who he is. He has no idea why he's relevant in the wrestling business. A lot of people don't know why he's relevant in the wrestling business, but like, he had no idea that he even does ratings. Yeah. So he just knows the name is attached to wrestling in some way. So Meltzer has his ratings, right? And and people, it's like Madden ratings. I mean, I look at it that way. It's so subjective, that like, it's his personal ratings. It's his personal ratings. It's no different than me saying WWE sucks Impact sucks, GCW sucks, because my personal preference is they all suck. I don't like watching any of them. I take Impact over the three, out of the three of them, and I don't want to watch Impact. I'm sad that ROH went because I started watching more when they said they were going away and was like, oh wow, this actually was pretty,
Yeah, should have been watching this all.
Yeah, this would have probably been my third show after AEW and MLW. So Meltzer has his ratings, and he gears more towards the New Japan AEW style of wrestling. I mean, it's just what he does. He prefers that. That's what he rates most of his matches on those style of matches, the high matches anyway. So that we'll go back to Chris. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for those of you who might listen to this guy, and I'm sorry if we ever actually do anything with him that we were butchering your name. It'd be a nice story to talk about if we ever actually talk to you. But Chris Van Vliet, I don't know. I'm going to make him fancy. Chris Van Vliet. Him saying how Impact has only had one 5-star match. TNA and Impact, the history of it, and there's been hell of a matches. The fact that I don't know what that one match, the TNA match was Christopher Daniels versus AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe at Unbreakable 2005. So that is the only match.
Nope, that's correct.
Now the fact of the matter is,
he's right.
Kurt Angle went there in the prime of his career, and had bangers when he was there. Him and Samoa Joe.
It's funny what you can do when you don't feel pain.
Yeah, but like they had hell of wrestlers. But again, it's subjective, and this is the whole meaningless thing.
See, I don't give issue a with fuck the ratings. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I don't give a fuck what Meltzer thinks is a 5-star match. Just like I don't give a fuck what my next door neighbor thinks is good wrestling. I don't care. I don't care what some random person, because Meltzer to me is a random person. He's not somebody that I've not taken any of his advice on what to watch up to this point. It's not like everything he puts out there, I'm like, ooh. I've watched some of his matches he put 5-star, and I've disagreed with them. And I've watched stuff that hasn't been 5-star, and I'm like, this is better than a lot of shit you've given 5 stars to.
Oh yeah, there's stuff recently in WWE that is like 5 stars that he's like 3 stars. I'm like, what is your ratings?
The problem is when you hype something up to be 6.5 stars or 12 stars or whatever the fuck his highest rating is now. When you go, that's the problem with ratings. Honestly, it's the problem with ratings is, and you do the same thing with movies and all this other stuff. If you get a 9 out of 10 star movie because you don't want to overhype it, and then you rate something else 9 stars, and you're like, that movie's so much better than this. You paint yourself in a corner with these ratings. The problem is people are taking it as gospel. It is some dude that is just giving you his fucking personal opinion, and it's people get so butthurt about it.
Yeah, and he's not the be all end all for ratings, right? That's the frustrating thing. That's what I wanted to get at. Like, he's not the alpha and omega when it comes to that. No pun intended, because he keeps giving Omega like 5 stars. But he's not like the authority figure when it comes to that. So many other, like, we can have ratings, we can have grades, we can have stuff like that's the thing when it comes. There's no specific board that tells you, hey, let me all right, so going back to video games, right? There's Metacritic, right? The Metacritic score of that aggregates like IGN score of, let's say, Horizon Forbidden West comes out this coming Friday, right? Review embargo breaks Valentine's Day, so we'll find out what the Metacritic score is. The Metacritic score is what aggregates everyone else's score, whether it be Kind of Funny giving it like 6 out of 10, or IGN gave it a 10 out of 10. Like, it aggregates everything. So that's kind of a good metric and open critic as well to like what is going on, right? Whether it be like fan/reviewer.
Right.
We don't have that in the world of wrestling. We don't have something that takes Meltzer's 5-star rating for, Bola 2022, where Daniel Garcia won. Spoiler. And let's say he gave it 5, but Pro Wrestling Insider gave it a 3, We don't have something that does the average of that.
Right.
I mean, like it's 4 stars. Like we don't have a Rotten Tomatoes. Even though Rotten Tomatoes is not even like an official thing. There's no official thing for any of these.
No.
We just collectively have picked one and been like, all right, so this is kind of where we're going to go off of stuff like that. Meltzer being around for so long and doing this for so long has unfortunately have become like where we go to be like, all right, is this match that good? And it's not viable anymore as a source, right? So every episode I mentioned Brian Zane, I watch his classic reviews. He rates each match, like whether it be like 5 stars, but it's more for fun. It's a frivolous thing. He mentions it's a frivolous thing, especially when he started it. I mean, literally, I watched, his most recent episode today was a classic pay-per-view review for JCW's, which is Juggalo Championship Wrestling, ICP. Their first, it's the Bloody Mania, their first like pay-per-view, right? And he presses the whole episode like, hey, this DVD was given to me by ICP. I'm a big ICP fan. And he scores, right? But that's his score. If you're a fan of him, then it matters to you what he scores it, right? Like I like to play this game when I watch these classic reviews where I'm like, I wonder what the rating is going to be. Thinking of all the matches he's rated beforehand, right? Like he rated Abdullah the Butcher versus somebody else and fucking Greg Valentine. No. Jake Roberts, like a bunch of like people who shouldn't be in the ring, and then like one dude's actually part of JCW. And he was like, the second the match was over, he was like fucking -4 out of 5 stars. Like, but it's frivolous. He already mentioned it's frivolous. Like, who the fuck cares? He's just having fun, and he's like, he knows star ratings are a thing that can help you get an idea of like how good or bad the match is, but that's subjective to him. Like you mentioned, like. Everything from Meltzer is just subjective to Meltzer. And it's because he's been around and he's almost considered this authority figure when it comes to wrestling. But again, it's a travesty if you just take like, hey, TNA hasn't had a 5-star match. That's according to Meltzer, dude. There's plenty of 5-star matches in that company. There has to be. There has to be more than New Japan. WWE should have comparable numbers to New Japan only because they've been around as long, if not longer. Like, there's no way that you don't have that many. Like,
now, see, and WWE, I will put them in their own island a little bit because their style of wrestling does not put them in a position to have too many 5-star matches, especially their TV matches and stuff. The way things end. The way they teach their wrestlers to wrestle, which is why they don't want them to go over the top unless it's like WrestleMania. You know what I mean? So WWE, as much as there's more matches to go by, I can understand why their number may be lower because of their style of wrestling. It's hard to go over the top. But like, in your opinion, and just putting you on the spot right now, you're the best match that you've ever seen. Because I already know mine. Okay.
And it's not factoring in my favor because I've already said it before. I am a huge fan of the Iron Man match. It's one of my favorite match types. I think Brock Lesnar versus Kurt Angle on that random SmackDown, I think it's like September, 30-minute Iron Man match is probably the best match I've seen in WWE.
No, ever and anything.
Anything.
Yeah, the best match that you've ever seen. That what stands out. I have one match in mind that is the best match I've ever seen.
I'm going with the first thing that popped in my head the second you asked that. It was more recent. It's Kenny and Hangman versus the Young Bucks from Revolution. Was that last year? Or 2 years ago? That match is the first thing that popped in my head. Is literally one of my favorite matches of all time.
And mine is Gargano against Ian Almas at the NXT Takeover in Philly. That's the best match I've ever seen. When it comes to everything, and you know why? I seen it live.
Yeah,
that contributed to a bump to me. I seen it live. The story with Ciampa coming back, with that was Candice LeRae just finally started becoming a part of everything. There was everything. It was the mix of everything with it. It was the being there for the live reaction in the crowd. All that fed into it. Gargano trying to get the title and failing once again. And like I said, just everything fed into that. When you look at that match from the beginning to when, because Ciampa comes out right at the end of that, and that was the and what the takeovers do. Like, you know, they put the little thing at the bottom, and you're like, wait, there's still some more time. Why are they putting it up?
And then take it off if someone gets
that
was fun.
But like, I don't think if I polled 100 other people that they would say that is the best match of all time. To me, that is. But like you said, it's so subjective. It's your own opinion.
Yeah,
it's your own opinion. And if we both sat down and thought of all the matches we've ever seen, the best match I ever seen is not the first match that pops in my mind when I think of what sticks in my mind. That would be Hogan against Ultimate Warrior, because that sticks out when I think of wrestling. That's the top one, but that's not because it was a good wrestling match.
Yeah, by far the contrary on that one.
But it stands out in my mind.
Yeah.
And isn't that shouldn't that be with the ratings too? Yeah. Shouldn't that be a little bit? So.
I think too many people put too much into these star ratings. That's the other thing as fans. Like, I think there's too many fans that like put too much credence into this. Like, this is Bible now. Like, I think if I were a wrestler, let's say, all right, so I'm the Bucks, right? They got a lot of 5-star matches from Meltzer. I'd be like, okay, they named the move after him and stuff like that. But like, it's more like, oh, hey, thank you for noticing my work, and that you appreciate it to this level that to your system, and you're pretty high up there, you put a 5. And in the landscape of wrestling, you're pretty high up there as a journalist. You put us at a 5 out of 5. Thank you very much. That's very thoughtful of you. But like, does it? I mean, there's other people who probably think whatever 5-star match he had is a 0 out of 5.
Yeah.
Or like, all right, so Pro Wrestling Illustrated, right, has their best wrestler of the year, most improved and stuff like that. And they give out plaques and stuff. That's an absolute honor, right? But like, or like match of the year and things like that. That's truly an honor. And I think that's because it has history and stuff like that. But I think if was it Britt Baker won most improved wrestler, right? Male or female, or I don't know if he's the best female improved or whatever, but she won that. That's an honor, but that's not something that she needs to harp on, right? She uses it as a character thing, but like in real life, we're like, holy shit, this makes me feel proud of my work. This makes me feel good. Thank you for noticing my work. But it's not something that should be, as a fan, taken that seriously.
Yeah. AEW,
it's so subjective.
AEW pushed all the awards they won because they're still on the rise.
Yeah,
they want to get to WWE's level, so they have to promote that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and they want to talk about, like, they want to acknowledge that there is this greater world of wrestling, whether it be like journalism with like Pro Wrestling Industry that's been around since fucking probably the 60s, right? I don't know the exact date. It's been around forever though. Like, hey, we'll feature you on there. We're like, WWE won awards in that thing too, and guess what? They weren't allowed to be on there because WWE is like, this is a universe. You're part of the WWE universe. Yeah. These are our superstars. We don't talk about wrestling.
It's no different that there are.
We always talk about shit about WWE. Fuck, they make it so easy.
There are people out there that that probably brag about their Nickelodeon Teen Choice Awards, and then there's other people that probably have never acknowledged it. I mean, it's that kind of thing. In all honesty, how do you blame somebody for being excited about something and promoting it? But yeah, at least
if we were on a higher level and we gave, all right, so Hangman and Cole looks like it's going to be a thing in the future, right? Let's say Revolution, they wrestle. If Apron Work was that huge and we were like, hey, Apron Work, we officially give, Hangman versus Cole our first 5 out of 5. That'd be cool if Hangman and Adam like, yo, hey, thank you very much for giving us 5 out of 5. Like, it doesn't matter to the end of the day. It's the whole discussion from everyone involved, right? Not just us. It's all Twitter blowing up because Hangman, jumped over a referee to do the buckshot lariat, which is you'll see later on today. It's pretty cool. But like that's part of it. And like if Meltzer tomorrow was like, yeah, that match was corny, I give it like 2 out of 5. Does Hangman care? No, he doesn't care. Because guess what? The live crowd was super into it. I popped big at home when he did that move. Like, he just beat Lance Archer, who's perpetually just never going to win this fucking championship. It's fine. It's whatever. I'm happy where he's at. I don't know if he's happy where he's at. But like, it doesn't, when Nielsen ratings, star ratings, at the end of the day, don't fucking matter.
Yeah.
In 2022. I think it's like a cool thing. A cool notch that you can be like, hey, AEW was the number 1 watched cable show on Wednesday night, this specific date. We beat out everything. That's fine. That's awesome. Maybe I contributed to that, but I'm not digging into the numbers. And like, well, technically you were number 2 because for this 15-minute span while you had this dumbass match on, we were watching the Sixers play and the Sixers just lost again. You know, like, who the fuck cares? Like,
yeah,
that's at the end of the day. Who the heck cares? If you like star ratings, cool, that's your thing. But like, it's not important to the grand scheme of professional wrestling. I can guarantee you, wrestlers aren't wrestling to get 5-star matches. That is just hey, you did this good. I want to recognize how good you did. Now, that being said, yeah, it's kind of bullshit that Impact only has 1. Yeah, it really is. I mean, there has to be. So there's some Ultimate X match, like Elix Skipper going over the top, and
I'm sitting here thinking to myself right now. We talked about wanting to, possibly get more content out there, even if it's not these episodes. And all I'm thinking is now I just want to go on. I want to find a 5-star match from Meltzer, and then I just want to put it out there on Twitter and just say to people, hey, give me a match that didn't get 5 stars. Let's compare them. And let's see.
Hey, give me a 4-star match.
Yeah. Like, and just put it out there, people, and say, hey, we're doing this 5-star women's match. Give me another women's match that you feel like was gypped and should have been 5 stars. And let's see what people throw out there. And then, either I don't know.
That specifically being said, it's going to be something from Impact because they have one of the best women's roster. Like, it's going to.
But I don't know. You've done more Twitch than me, but that almost seems like something to do on Twitch. Watch it live and talk about it. But like, I don't know how Twitch, what you can put on there and what you can put sound wise in the background and shit like that.
We can always archive it.
But
I don't know if we can put WWE since I got a copyright claim for watching a fucking commercial. I didn't even try to dispute it, and they already took it away from me. I was like, oh, like, but not the thing. They took the claim away. I was like, okay, WWE.
But yeah, even if we don't watch it, I don't know. But even if we just do a little short 10-minute thing where we just talk about why this match was better than that match, or why that match
according to Meltzer, this is a 5-star match, but this is a 4-star.
But again, it's our own opinions too on top of it, and we can agree and disagree with Meltzer or with the fandom that thinks that whatever match is better. But I think that would be interesting to do because we're talking about it. I'm like, hey, ratings are meaningless, and I would not come out of that and say, see, there's a difference between this match is better than this match, this show is better than this show, or saying this show gets a 1.3 rating, this show gets a 0.5 rating. It's that much better. This is a 5.5-star match as opposed to 5.25. That one's better. It's a lot different when you're comparing one thing to one thing and saying, hey, this is better. So no, I randomly right now, I was going to talk to you about it afterwards. I'm like, what? We're talking about it. I'm going to kind of put it out there. It's like the first
secret.
Time.
If you talk about it, it's going to be real.
This would be the first time that I mentioned something and we didn't do it. So
the ultimate tag team bracket. Yeah.
But
listen, if you're listening to us, if you gotten this far, hit us up on Twitter, hit us up on Instagram, comment down below on the YouTube thing. Like, while you're there, subscribe. What the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
5 stars too, as well. That rating matters, okay?
Yes.
5-star us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Yeah. That shit matters.
Even if you watch 10 minutes of the video, just press a like.
Because guess what? Those stars hopefully will equivocate to money down the line for us.
Even if it doesn't,
maybe
I would like
a media press badge and we get flown out to go see WrestleMania. Who knows?
You're talking WrestleMania. I'm talking about WrestlePro giving us a a media pass badge. Like your
anything.
your
I'll take
level
any.
of, yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna shoot for the moon like Cameron Grimes.
I'm wanting Danhausen to respond to our email.
Yeah,
You're wanting to get flown out to WrestleMania on Vince McMahon's private jet.
I'll just pretend I never talk shit. Like Vince, I'm Puerto Rican. I don't know. I'm like kind of related to Freddie Prinze Jr. Did you know that?
But yeah, so I will say this for all you out there who get butthurt about these ratings, they mean nothing.
Yeah, enjoy the product.
Meltzer,
just enjoy.
Yeah, Meltzer rating something 5.5 stars of a match he really liked does not make it better than a match that he rated 4.75. You can't use that. I mean, you could use it, I guess, to defend your point, but like,
it's not the be all end all.
Yeah, stop. If you agree with him, great. If you disagree with him, that's fine too. Yeah. Like, I just
like Chris legitimately mentioning, hey, Impact doesn't have a 5-star rating. That is kind of BS. That's a fine comment to make, but he's also not going to follow up with being like, and Meltzer's the biggest piece of shit. Like, he's just like, that's weird. That shouldn't be like that. There definitely should be more 5-star matches in that product from that time frame.
And their matches are not that far off of what we see in AEW, especially 6-sided ring, X Division type matches. And that's the crazy thing, is you got some guys that are getting these 5-star matches that wrestled there. That don't wrestle all that different than what they did when they were there. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so like it's all subjective. Don't take it too serious. You can have fun, have the fun argument, but like, you're wrong. Like, don't be just like, this is the best. Like what you like, but don't be a dick.
Yeah, no, I realize Eric Bischoff did not go the right way. I'm going to jump back on his thing because there is a difference, and there's a difference between what Chris Van Vliet said on his, where he was just saying it's a crazy fact. I was doing research. I'm doing an interview with Christopher Daniels. It's a crazy fact. I wanted to put it out there. Different than basically Bischoff calling out Sean Ross Sapp, who, like you said, is just probably doing his job. He probably does think it's interesting because you know what his job is? His job is to get you to debate, to get you to talk. And guess what those ratings do? They get every WWE fan saying, see, your ratings are better. And AEW saying, well, that's not fair. You have a built-in audience, blah, 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 blah. And then when AEW's come out, well, look, our demo rating is better because they're getting people talking. It's no different than Tony Khan saying, this guy's coming in, knocking down the forbidden door, changing the locks, kicking in the next door, walking through the doggy door. He is the greatest of all time. And then it being Keith Lee. It's no knock on Keith Lee, but he got you talking. You were talking about everybody under the sun. There was people out there legit thought it was going to be Triple H or Shane McMahon. Jeff Hardy was out there. I see Okada's name popping up on my timeline a lot. There is Johnny Gargano, Bray Wyatt. Yeah, there's so many people. I'm sure there's somebody out there who thought it was Roman Reigns. Like,
there's someone,
but like, it got people talking, and that's all. Sean Ross Sapp is doing it because the first time they did it, people talked, and they probably got a lot of likes and a lot of comments. So they're going to do it every single time.
Again, talk about the beginning of the show, has a fucking shirt.
Yeah,
because of it.
Yeah, the demo god, and that's what. And I understand Bischoff's thing, but like, you're being a dick to somebody who didn't post WWE drew it. Yeah. And that's the only time he posted about ratings because WWE is low, and never, ever post WWE Raw's ratings ever, and only posted, or if he put, wow, can't believe it, WWE's ratings dropped. This. Like, he literally just, if anything, he gave flat out information the same way he always does. Don't kill the messenger for doing something that is going to get them.
Yeah, he feels this is important to his job that he has to comment about this because everyone else is talking about it. So of course he's going to be like,
people are going to talk about it.
And then we talk about it then.
And Bischoff probably did it to get people to talk about him too. And that's what we're doing right now. But like, it's that whole negativity thing where he's like, you're contributing negativity while you're spreading negativity on the person who's doing their job. You're contributing to it with this comment. There's a better way for you to say it and say, like, I wish you wouldn't put this out there because the context and stuff, there's just more to it than this. That you could have said it that way.
Yeah.
And people would have talked. But no, it's the controversy. Was it a controversy? Controversy's king, or whatever that saying is.
Yeah. Any good news, even bad news, is still news. Right?
Yeah. And that's what all these guys are. Bischoff, Jim Cornette, Skip Bayless, Dave Meltzer.
That's an interesting group you put together, and what they all kind of mix.
Stephen A. Smith, Howard Eskin. They're all the same person. They're literally all the same person. Have we ever seen them all in a room together? Because I haven't. They are all the same person. They're doing it to get clicks and to get you talking. And while
listening to WIP in the morning,
while
or whatever.
while you're all complaining about what they said and calling them an idiot, they're rolling around in their waterbed full of cash.
Yeah, just like Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah, they're crying, wiping their tears with the $100 bills. So yeah. So on that note, I'm not going right off. I just realized I say on that note when I end, and it sounded like I was ending it. I am wrapping this up though. So ratings, meaningless in all walks of life, in every walk of life.
Yeah.
Don't worry about your rating. Your Madden rating's 98. Oh my God, you should probably retire. Yeah, ratings are subjective. Get the fuck over it.
Yeah,
plain and simple.
Don't take it too serious.
Yeah. Don't fight with people over ratings. They're just doing their job. They might not be doing it well, but they're doing their job. So, you have anything else to add to that?
No, I agree. Ratings don't matter unless it's like this is us, and you don't want This Is Us to end at season 5. You want This Is Us to end at season 7.
Yeah.
I want to know what happens to Jack. Well, we know he dies. Don't worry about it. But
No. We want to know what happens to little Jack. See, I watched This Is Us. I could talk about it for those of you out there.
Actually is a fucking good show.
It is, and I'm sad to see it go.
I know. At least they go on their own terms. That's why ratings matter, right? That's what shows
should do.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's when ratings matter.
Yeah.
In the world of professional wrestling, listen, it only matters once you hear Sean Ross Sapp be like, yo, WWE is not doing good. They're going to fucking cancel Raw. Then that's because ratings mattered in some way, shape, or form. But in the world we're at right now in 2022 and how wrestling's been, it's been booming. I think we're fine. I don't think that's something we ever have to think about.
USA and Fox are literally fighting over talent, and Fox just paid them $8 trillion for SmackDown. Trust me, these ratings are what they were, and they're still fighting over them. So they're making money. They ain't worried about it. Like you said, if he starts saying, hey, Raw's at 1.38, USA's not happy, it's one of their lowest shows.
Yeah. Then that's an issue.
Yeah. But again, that's where I agree with Bischoff, where context, what's 1.38? Is that SyFy's the highest rating of the year?
Yeah. Does Resident Alien get more? Like what? There's no context. And that's the heart of Bischoff's tweet. Like there's no context for that.
Yeah. He just did it in a very dickish way. That's all.
A very Bischoff way.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, hey, this timer thing actually worked.
It did.
For those of you out there that are upset that we keep getting close to 2 hours, well, fuck you, because you're probably not watching. You're probably not watching or listening to the whole thing anyway. But about an hour and 20 minutes. All right. Well, I feel like we got our point across. And
we did it.
Yeah. So, on that note, we'll see you when we see it.